Here we go. So today it's listed as a band circuit, but it could just as easily be a dumbbell circuit as well. So, I just say band to change it up, and if you don't have a band, it could really easily be a dumbbell. But sometimes, the band offers a different kind of resistance, so that's nice. A band is obviously harder. It gets harder as you stretch it, so it does change things up a little bit in terms of, how the movement feels and all of that. It's not one consistent resistance. It changes as you go along. So sometimes that's kind of fun to play around with. So what we have this morning is a band circuit, 30 seconds on, 15 seconds off. We're going to do 3 pairs of exercises, and we're going to go through each pair 4 times. Okay, so the first pair is a crawl forward and backward. Okay, so you're just using the space that you have, crawling forward and backward, keeping your knees nice and close to the ground, back nice and flat. And then the Band RDL, there's 2 ways we can do that. This can be done with a dumbbell as well if you don't have the right band. Sometimes if you have a band that's too thin, it's not really worth doing. But so if you have a band, I use a super band like this, like we have in the gym. You can use, I don't know if you have one with handles, you probably have to rig this in a way that it works. So what you're going to do for the Band RDL is one of 2 ways. You can either step on it with narrow feet, which it kind of depends on where you're good with your stance, if you like narrow. And then you're just going to be here. And then just like you're picking a weight up from the ground, we got your back nice and flat, tension down in the back of your legs, right? So you're hinged over at your hips, some knee bend if needed, not much though. So it shouldn't be like a squat, some knee bend, lots of hip bend. And then we just use that tension down the back of your legs to stand back up. All right, so you think of it as pushing your hips backwards, keeping things nice and flat, keep your tailbone up, and then we pull to the top. All right, so if you can change the range of motion here, it might be just going this far, right? But whatever your range of motion, we want your butt and back of your legs to be feeling this. All right, so that's one way you can do it. Other way you can do it would be wider feet. So we would call it a sumo stance. So your feet are wider, and you might point your toes out a little bit. And from there, it's the same movement. You're still pushing your hips back, but this might work better for some, kind of depending on what band you have. So it's that same exact motion at your hips. You just got wider feet. It does feel a little bit different. I prefer the narrow stance just because it works the best with the band that I have. But otherwise, it's up to you. I'll describe. I think I'll take the minute in between each pair to describe the next one. But just to give you an idea of where we're going, the second pair of exercises is a band reverse lunge and a side plank. So these are movements that we know. The third pair of movements is a lateral bound. So we're stepping or hopping side to side, and a row hold. So that would be either bent over or a seated row hold, where we're just pulling that band and stretching up just like that, keeping your shoulder blades together and your elbows up towards the ceiling. Okay. So nothing groundbreaking today in terms of learning new movements, but we will get a good workout here the day after Christmas. So let's go ahead and have a seat on the floor. Just to get stretching here, we're going to sit tall. We'll bring one leg over and then give it a hug. Okay, so if you're bringing your right leg into you, you're going to try to hook your left elbow around that leg. We're going to try to sit nice and tall. Breathing through all of these stretches. This is a nice one as you take a deep breath into your belly. You can kind of use that to make a better stretch. So your belly will push into your thigh. and get some more stretch out of it. All right, let's go to the other side. Yeah, we're going to try not to rotate as much here, so we want to face straight forward. We're going to see if we can bring that leg across, hook your elbow around it. You may get some back cracks out of it as you take these nice deep breaths. Two more breaths. And good. Let's go and lay down onto your back. Bring one knee into your chest. And we're going to push into the floor, lifting those hips up. So we go up and down. And we're going to go 10 each side. Switch sides. Always keeping that thigh nice and close to your chest as you push. And good. Let's roll over to your side. So we're going to do a side plank from your knees. All right, so we just come up, just holding that side plank for about 10 seconds here just to get going. Then we're going to separate your top knee from your bottom. Right, so now we've got a little bit of space in between your knees and your feet. And we're going to press that bottom leg into the floor to lift your hips up. So we should be feeling this in the outside of your hip that's closest to the floor. And good, let's go to the other side. So we start off with a side plank from your knees. Just go for about 10 seconds here, let everything get going. Make sure you have that good solid position dialed in. Then we're going to pick up your top leg and we push into the floor with your bottom leg. And good. Let's roll over to your front. You're going to go to a push-up position and then sort of a downward facing dog. So we reach your hips back and up towards the ceiling. Let your heels drop down toward the floor. Getting a nice big stretch down the back of your legs. You can sort of walk it from side to side if that helps. And good. From there, we're going to come up to a push-up or come up to the Spider-Man position. So bring that leg forward up next to your hands. You can either rest your back leg on the ground or your back knee on the ground or keep it straight. I like to rest it on the ground here just because I like to get a better hip flexor stretch out of it. So I put my knee on the ground, push my chest away from the floor, really try to push my hips down to the floor. And from here, you're gonna pick up your hand that's closest to your foot, that's forward, and we're gonna just rotate up. And let's switch sides. We go back to the push-up position, bring that other leg up. Knee is gonna be outside your armpit. Pushing those hips down toward the floor. All right, let's go ahead and rotate. So we turn into that forward leg. And good. From there, let's go ahead and stand. And we'll get into some lateral lunges. All right, so we step out to the side, just working our way lower and lower. Let's do one side here for about 8 to 10 steps. And we'll work on the other side. So switch legs. Working a little bit lower as you go. And good. Okay, last bit of warm up here. We're just gonna go real simple SLDL, because the first movement that we're doing is a hip hinge, right? We're gonna be doing that RDL, where you're stretching the band or holding weights. So we're just gonna do sort of a one leg version of that. Think of yourself as holding those weights. So we're just hinging down, getting things warmed up, ready to go. And switch legs. And good to go. Okay, so just a reminder, the first two movements here that we're gonna be tackling is a forward and backward crawl. So we're just moving forward and backward there in the space that you have. And then we'll pair that with the band RDL, or if you have weights, you can also use weights. But the thing that I like about the band is that it sort of helps you keep your hands next to your shins all the way down. Sometimes when you have weight, if you're not really shifting your hips backwards, if you're more bending over forward, see how my hands get, in front of my legs, right? And that starts to put pressure on your back. So the band sort of forces you to keep your hands next to your legs, because they're kind of anchored there as you step on the band. So that's why I like the band. If you're using the dumbbells, you can really just use that visual of the dumbbells pulling right down towards your shoes, the outside of your shoelaces there. Okay. So keep that in mind as we do these. Let's get started in 10 seconds. We've got your weight nearby. Okay, we won't need it for the crawl, but we'll need it for the RDL next. Okay, 4 times through each one, getting started in 3 seconds, 2, 1, and crawling forward and backward. Here we go. Keeping it back nice and flat, knees close to the floor. Halfway there. 5 seconds left. 3, 2, 1. Rest for 15 seconds. And then we'll get into the RDL, either the band or dumbbells. 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and here we go. If you have a band, you can step on more of the band to make it more challenging. Just don't snap it. 15 seconds left. Remember, all that work's going to be in the back of your legs, your butt. 3 seconds, 2, 1, and rest. Going back to the crawl. Remember, we're doing these 4 times through. Okay, ready? And crawl, here we go. Think of that core, your belly nice and strong. As you step through, balancing that glass of water on your back. 10 seconds left. Three seconds, 2, 1, and rest. Okay, back to RDL in 3 seconds, 2, 1, and here we go. If you're stepping on the band, the wider your feet go, the more tension will be on the band because it gives you less to stretch. Always picture pushing those cheeks back like you're trying to touch the wall behind you. Shoulder blades will stay back and strong. 3 seconds, 2, 1, and rest. Okay, crawling for round 3, and here we go. Ten seconds left. Remember, we're always moving opposites, opposite hand and foot. 2, 1, rest. Okay, ready? RDLs, here we go. Five seconds left. 3, 2, 1, and relax. I'm gonna wait for the timer to tell me if we got one more round here. And last round, here we go, crawling forward and backward. Trying to keep that chin pulled away from the floor. So think about the back of your head being an extension of the line from your tailbone through the top of your head. So we're not reaching forward with your head, we're pulling it back towards the ceiling. 2 seconds, 1, and rest. Okay, last set of RDLs. And here we go. Keeping that tension down the back of your legs. Ten seconds left. Three seconds, 2, 1, and rest. Okay, we're gonna take about 30 seconds in between groups here. Remember, next exercises are the band reverse lunge, or you can obviously easily hold a dumbbell here, but if you're doing the band version, you'll just step on that band with your front foot, holding with both hands. And then we step back, you let the band pull you down to the floor. Then you're pushing up into the band to stand. Okay, after about 15 seconds, that'll get to you. And so we'll switch sides at 15 seconds. So we do both sides within the 30. And then side plank. So we'll just go right to the floor, side plank for 15 seconds. You do that from your elbow or with an extended hand. And then at 15 seconds, we'll roll over Get the other side. Okay. All right. So starting with the reverse lunge. Okay, we're going to get started in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1, and here we go. Reverse lunges for 15 seconds on one side, then we'll switch. You can almost make these pretty fast if you have a band. And switch sides. And rest. Good. So obviously if you're holding a weight, you can hold it up under your chin or on the side that's stepping back. All right, let's get into a side plank in 3, 2, 1, and here we go. Either from your elbow or from your feet, or sorry, from your hand. Good, 3 seconds left on this side. And roll it right over. Three seconds, 2, 1, and rest. Okay, back to reverse lunges. Starting in 3 seconds, 2, 1, and off we go. You can always choke up on the band if you need to by holding just a little bit lower. Switching sides in 3 seconds, 2, 1, and switch. Two, 1, and rest. Okay, side plank in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Making sure that you're balanced. If your feet are slipping, bring your elbow under you more. 5 seconds on this side. 2, 1, roll it over. Three seconds, 2, 1, and rest. Okay, 2 more rounds to go with these exercises. Let's go in 2, 1, and reverse lunge. Here we go. Remember that front leg's gonna do all the work. Press down into the floor hard. And switch. Five seconds left. And rest. You should be able to get like 6 to 8 lunges in there. Sort of faster than we're used to working, but it's a little bit different. All right, side plank in 2, 1, here we go. Making sure those hips are pressed forward. Don't let your butt poke out the back. 3 seconds, 2, 1, switch sides. Five seconds left here. 3, 2, 1, and rest. Okay, fourth and final round of the lunges in 2, 1, here we go. Makes it a little faster if you just leave your foot back there, but stand all the way up. Switch sides. So you're going to make sure you get your front leg straight, but your back foot doesn't have to come up next to it. 2 seconds. 1, rest. Wrapping up this group with the side plank. 3, 2, 1, and here we go. Again, making sure those hips are pressed forward. Nice long line from your heels through your hips to the back of your head. And switch sides. Five seconds. 3, 2, 1, and rest. Okay. So again, we'll take 30 seconds in between the pairs. Last pair, lateral bound. So that's a step or a hop, right? So we're either hopping from side to side here, or it's just a step, catch your balance, step, catch your balance. Okay, the landing is the most important part here. We really want that hip stability when you land, okay? So 30 seconds back and forth, and then a row hold. 2 ways to do that. You can either do a seated row hold with your band, or wrap it around the bottom of your feet, sit tall, and we pull back and hold. All right, so that's one way. You can also do the standing version of that, where you're standing on your band just like you were for the deadlift, and we just row, pull up and hold just like that. Okay. If you have dumbbells, you can use both dumbbells, or just you can use 2 dumbbells and do that. You can use 1 dumbbell and do that. If that's what you got, I'll call halfway. Okay. All right, let's get started. Last pair of exercises here. We're going to go through 4 times each, starting off with the lateral bound in 3, 2, 1, and here we go. Bounding side to side, step or hop. Where we don't do a whole ton of jumping in these circuits, but I do still think it's important to make sure that we're focusing on landing really well rather than jumping really far. 2 seconds, 1, and rest. Okay, row hold is next. Choke up on your band if you need to. In 2 seconds, 1, and here we go. Nice strong hold for 30 seconds. Make sure you know shoulder blades coming together. Belly strong, ribs are down. If you were back up against a wall, you'd just be trying to tap your elbows to the wall behind you. Maybe push into the wall just a little bit. 5 seconds left. Sorry, I didn't call halfway there. And rest. I promise I'll do it on the next ones. So halfway call for those of you who are just using 1 dumbbell for that. If you got 2, use 2. Okay, lateral bounds, round 2. Ready, and go. Halfway. If you think about arms at all, the arm that's going forward should be on the side where you're pushing. So if you're pushing with your right leg, your right arm should be going forward. 3 seconds, 2, 1, rest. All right, row hold in 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and here we go. Round 2, a row hold. Switching in 5 seconds or 2 seconds, go. Halfway. That was a really bad call. Sorry about that. 5 seconds left. 3, 2, 1, and rest. I like this combination of bringing your heart rate up and then doing some sort of hold. Kind of makes you work while you're breathing, which I like. All right, round 3 of lateral bounds. Ready and go. Ten seconds left. 3 seconds, 2, 1, rest. Round 3 of the band row, and here we go. 30 seconds, nice strong hold. Or you can choke up on that band if you need to. Halfway is in 5 seconds. And halfway, switch it up if you're only doing one side at a time. If you're using both hands, just stay where you are. 3 seconds, 2, 1, and rest. The row hold is also a nice chance to make sure you're not using your arms. Like we don't just want to use your biceps. We want to think about those shoulder blades squeezing together and doing some work for you. All right, last round of lateral bounds. Ready? And here we go. Halfway. 5 seconds left. Trying to keep those shoulders square, don't let them dip. And rest. You know, if you find yourself moving around your space, like ending up farther left than you started, you're pushing harder with one leg than the other. So try to keep yourself centered if you can. Last row hold, here we go. Halfway. 5 seconds left. 3, 2, 1, and rest. Okay. And that's a wrap. Okay. Good job, everybody. You know, for the first half of that, I was kind of thinking I should have made it 40 seconds of work, but I think I got there by the end. I don't know about you guys, but I got sweaty enough for the day after Christmas. So yeah, I hope you guys had a great day yesterday. Today's Saturday. Tomorrow, Sunday, we are doing the stretching circuit at 8 a.m. So we'll be here on this link for that. It's more of like a basic stretch and recovery than, you know, not a primal day like Thursdays are. So maybe you can join us. If not, we'll see you Monday. See you guys.
Thanks.